Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name's Adam Glyn, joined by my buddy Dax Holt. How are you, sir? We are allies. And this is our top 10 stories of the week, our weekly rundown where we give you the top 10 stories of the week, give you our little opinions on it, and fill you in so you have a little bit of knowledge in the entertainment world before the weekend comes. This week was a fun week because it was just kind of unique news stories, and we're going to get to the stories. Before we get to the stories, we read reviews live on air. Dax, do you have some reviews ready for us?
I got some reviews for us. All right, this one comes from Megan Elizabeth G. Great, 5 stars, very entertaining, and keeps my attention. Perfect podcast. I love it because we are the perfect podcast. At least that's what my mom says. All right.
That's very nice.
Next one comes from Courtney Dowling. I downloaded 2 different apps just to leave this review. Oh, shit. Look at you, Courtney. Stepping up. 5 stars. I am not usually one to leave reviews, but Dax and Adam finally convinced me after listening. I listened to 15 different downloaded episodes while on a transatlantic flight sans Wi-Fi. Fantastic podcast, charismatic host, and great stories you won't hear anywhere else. All right. Where do we frame this review? This might be one of my favorite reviews of all time. Like,
very nice.
To think that we got her through her transatlantic flight. I love that. Okay. And then one last one. Fantastic interviewers from KBS 7601. My goodness, Cheryl Burke must have been so hard to interview because she was not giving you much to work with. You guys handled it so well and professionally. Also, it is not a weird question to ask if someone has ever gotten a boner while dancing with her. Great job.
You know what? I don't know how many reviews have the word boner in it, and we might be one of the first, so I appreciate that. Thank you guys for leaving reviews. If you want to do that, just go to iTunes, put in Hollywood Raw Podcast, go to the bottom, and put in 5 stars, say a few kind words, and we actually read your review live on air. Shout out to everyone in our Facebook group. I met a lot of them during BravoCon last weekend, and we had a really cool thing in our private Facebook group. It's called Off the Record, and it's
people are. I saw photos of you taking pictures with some people there, which I thought was kind of fun to see you getting asked for photos, which I was like, that. It's Adam.
It was so nice. I mean, listen, but I'm not on the red carpet. What I do is not pretty, but I get the job done. However, we gave people in our group cool access where they got to meet some of the stars before BravoCon got hectic and the celebrities were just tired and. Some of this, so some of the people in our group got to, meet their favorite celebrities, Bravo stars, and just have a really cool experience. And me. So that was really good. So check out our private Facebook group. It's called Off the Record on Hollywood Raw on Facebook. Now let's get to our top 10 stories of the week. Dax, what's number 10?
Number 10. Well, it was going to be that Mackenzie Scott donated $845 million to Girl Scouts. However, it is no longer. Mackenzie, take your money somewhere else because we don't report on it here in the Hollywood Raw podcast. We're talking about number 10 being Lana Del Rey losing a 200-page book that she was writing for, I guess, about her life. So if you remember, this was a couple months back. She was parked on Melrose Avenue here in Los Angeles. She stepped away from her car, and I guess her backpack got swiped out of her car. It had inside of it her laptop and a bunch of stuff, a camera, I believe, as well in there, and like multiple hard drives. Well, she, during an Instagram Live video, said that it was her backpack and took all of it, but inside of her laptop was a 200-page book she was working on for Simon & Schuster, and she also lost like family footage on the camcorder. But that being said, she had to wipe the computer remotely, and she didn't have the 200-page book backed up on the cloud anywhere. So all of her hard work went out the window and down the drain. That being said, she did say, with all that being said, she does have a 9th album on the way.
Well, that's the good part, but that is terrible. And here's the one thing I take away from this. I mean, first of all, terrible thing to happen. It just sucks. Can you imagine losing your laptop and like everything that's on it? I mean, I guess you could say, oh, you should have had it backed up, but you say that. It's always good to say. Everyone's going to say that after it happens. However,
of course,
when at a time when a lot of celebrities don't write their book, she was actually writing her own book, it seems like. So I think props to her for that, because a lot of celebrities hire ghostwriters and they write their book for them.
Mm-hmm. No, very, very true. So bummer for her. And I was joking about Mackenzie Scott because obviously her donation was huge. This story just happened to be more our style, so that's why we entered it in. But no, really, props to Mackenzie. That is a incredible donation, the biggest donation that the Girl Scouts have ever received. So
yeah.
All right, moving
I'm excited
on
for
here.
Lana. I am excited for Lana Del Rey's new album. She's always just kind of interesting, her sound, so I'm curious what her sound will be for her next album. And we just haven't heard from her a lot in the past few years, so that's going to be cool to hear. All right, number 9.
Number 9, Teresa is it Giudice? Giudice? I never know how the hell to say
Giudice.
her name. Giudice. She has confirmed she did not sign a prenup before marrying her recent husband, Luis. She told Andy Cohen, so she was there at BravoCon, obviously. While up on stage, a fan came up and asked, hey, so did you take Uncle Andy's advice and get a prenup before walking down the aisle again? And she said, no. And obviously the crowd went wild and they panned over, looked at Andy's face. Andy looked stunned that he's like, are you serious? Like, it's all fun and games to say you're in love because she cited true love as the reason she didn't get a prenup. But I'm like, yeah, that's what everyone thinks going into a marriage. But then a lot of marriages go south and then you're like, damn, why didn't I protect myself? So she doesn't seem to be worried about it.
You know, it's funny. So again, I was at BravoCon this past weekend, and I wasn't at the Javits Center where it took place. I was more hanging with some of our fans of the podcast at another spot where a lot of the Bravo stars were, and that was the talk of the group. I would say was we actually saw Teresa and we saw her new husband there, and he was outside smoking a cigarette. He was on his phone and. I didn't say anything to him. No one approached him and asked him for photos or anything like that. We just saw him there. But everyone kept saying, like, I don't think he's going to last a year. Now, I know that's a terrible thing to say. I think a lot. I didn't say it. Other people were saying that. It's just, you're wishing ill on a relationship, which is not the best thing to do. But I think that is a concern of a lot of Bravo fans that, unfortunately, like, they don't know if this is long term, if it's going to, if it's going to go to eternity, this relationship. So it's and they don't. I think some of them are skeptic of his motives with marrying her within a year.
And I can kind of understand it, but whatever, her choice. She wants to risk it all on this guy. Go for it. And it was funny because she said like she actually signed a prenup. Joe had asked her to sign a prenup before they got married back in the day, and I guess she was not like pleased with that, which is funny because that relationship actually lasted 21 years. Like that was a successful marriage, and they still had a prenup involved all those years back.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they're happy, that's all that matters. So long as they're happy, good for them. Congratulations. I hope, they're happy. It doesn't look like it's phasing. It's something that they think about. So, pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, Billie Eilish got a new boyfriend. His name is Jesse Rutherford. You may know him from the band The Neighborhood, but they went public this week. There's photos of them all over the place, getting all smoochy and kissing, doing some PDA in Studio City. Cameras caught them while they were out. Hey, and when I say cameras, I mean Clint Brewer got them out, which is, if you listen to Wednesday's episode, we had a very, very well-known photographer on the podcast, and he was the one that shot these photos. And the only reason I know that, because I saw the byline. So they are doing really well. I'm sure these photos racked in a ton of money for him and his partner, AIM. But yeah, it seems like, Billy and Jesse were trying not to go public. We had seen photos or video of them one night at Universal Studios, like their scare nights, and then there was a night that they went out to dinner. Well, now it's clearly they are a couple.
Yeah, so I think we never really seen her in a relationship. We never, to me, I remember the first time I saw Billie Eilish, it was kind of like boyish, her style and everything like that. But now we're kind of see the feminine style come out of her and see her like in a relationship, and I guess she's with someone who seems like when you see them together, like, oh, that couple works.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're both in music. They're both kind of artistic. Their style just kind of in some way looks like it works well together. So yeah, congratulations to Billie Eilish.
It looks like they both go into the closet and they're like, what oversized clothes do you want to wear today?
yeah. They definitely share each other's clothes. It's gonna happen. That's a great way of looking at it. All right, what's next, Dax?
Next is, what number are we on, by the way?
Number 7.
Number 7, Wendy Williams. She is doing quote unquote better than ever after being released from a wellness facility. So ET had the exclusive on this week. The 58-year-old television personality is now focusing on her health after recent months, where she was entered into a wellness facility back in August. Her publicist came forward, Sean, and said that she is home and healing, and talked about, this is Wendy's excited about the road to recovery and looking forward to releasing many of her future projects. And so it sounds like she's doing good. Listen, I will believe it all when I see it, because I feel that Wendy has come in and out of, situations where she was released from a facility. It didn't actually turn out good. And so I am hoping that this time that is true, because I really do wish Wendy the best.
Yeah, Wendy's a legend. She's great at what she does. Unfortunately, she had a little bit of bumps in the road, and it happens. But you're right. I want to see it firsthand. Of course, this is just such a PR article. It's like, of course, we're going to do exclusive ET. And here's the thing is the headline's got to be, she's doing great. Rehab it shouldn't be, it's longer than a month, maybe sometimes 2 months. So I don't want to see her until she's healthy,
well.
And I want to see her well.
I am the biggest fan of celebs going down a bad path and then recovering. I think the world is I'm not even just me. I think the world loves a good comeback story. We've seen it with Britney, Amanda Bynes. Robert Downey Jr. There's so many people that have had a really rough past. Look at even this week, Matthew Perry releasing a book.
We're going to get into that.
Talk about that. We're going to get to that. But having a really bad time and then coming back from it and thriving, I want that for her. And I think she has the possibility of doing that. She's got this new podcast that she is going to be putting out, the Wendy Williams Project, which we are open to guest on, Wendy. If you need some celebrity folks, we are here for you.
Yeah.
No, but really, we'll see.
Entertainment news in the media. They love a downfall. It's great for stories. It's great for clicks. Everyone tunes in. However, everyone at the end of the day, they love a comeback story, 100%. And I think people want to see the comeback story. At the end of the day, I root for people. People want to see people do well. I shouldn't say for everyone. However, in this case, I think no one really dislikes Wendy. She's not like a Kanye type of personality at this point. But we want to see a comeback story. Yes, we were tuned into when things weren't going great for her. However, we do want to see her well at the end of the day. So, all right, number 6.
Number 6. Oh, good God, I'm tired of talking about him. But Kanye West put his foot in his mouth once again. Now George Floyd's daughter has sent a cease and desist. Obviously, she's not old enough to do it, but she sent it through her lawyers to Kanye West. If you have been following this at all, he was on the podcast Drink Champs and basically said that George Floyd was killed by a fentanyl overdose, despite the medical examiner's testimony saying that fentanyl was not the direct cause of his death, only a contributing factor when he died after being knelt on by the police officer. Why Kanye is deciding to be so controversial and just I feel like he literally goes on to podcasts or does interviews just to piss people off, that I'm like, at a point, I get it, controversy sells, but now he's facing a $250 million lawsuit from them to basically say, shut your mouth, and this is going to be saying yes, freedom of speech is one thing, but if you're putting this out there, you're directly affecting George Floyd's little daughter and the way that people envision her father and all this kind of stuff, that this is causing her emotional distress, and they want to make sure he understands words have consequences.
So, yeah, it's Kanye is just doing a lot of interviews right now, and should we talk about this?
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so Kanye's doing a lot of interviews right now, and some would say too many. And we got a number We got so we got Kanye West's number, and we reached out to him. And Dax reached out because I didn't want to do it.
If anyone's in the private Facebook group, this is who I was talking about. We got fucking Kanye's number, and I texted him and accidentally FaceTimed him.
Dax accidentally FaceTimed Kanye West. Like, what do you think he would have done if he picked up that phone? Like, a Jew. Like, what is?
Dude, it was like literally sent text, and then it like pops back up onto like the contact screen, and I like just went to swipe out of it, and I hit the call like FaceTime button. I was like, no.
Oh my! I was embarrassed for you. I was so embarrassed for you after that.
God. Anyway,
man,
well, he did not respond, which I'm not surprised because we are the Jews, and he did not answer back to our request to come on the podcast.
Yeah, so maybe he'll come. I don't even want him at this point. Not even because of the anti-Semitic things, because we're two Jews, but it's more of like he's said so much where it's like I'd rather have him. Honestly, I'd rather have him on the comeback if he can. Not
only that, I'm also watching Drink Champs getting wrapped into this lawsuit, and I'm like, yeah, I also don't want a lawsuit because he is wild and just says some crazy shit that, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, enough of Kanye. Number 5,
Emily Ratajkowski spotted kissing with a new man who is not Brad Pitt. Like, so the stories that have been going around for the last couple of weeks that Emily and Brad have been hanging out, and then there's all these photos of her on October 14th in New York City wearing all black, making out with some dude who they claim appears to be DJ Orazio Rispo. Is that how you say his name? I don't know who this guy is.
Well, no one should know who he is. At the end of the day, this is who this guy is. If it is a big story because there was a lot of reports that Emily was dating Brad Pitt, but it's clear that she was kind of seeing this guy, so that kind of puts the Brad Pitt story kind of behind. However, this guy, yes,
you know him?
No, I don't know him, but if you look up who this guy is, he's a rich guy. His family, he comes from a lot of money, so he's a 35-year-old DJ. That's and he's not performing at Coachella. He's doing Brooklyn warehouses, and he comes from a lot of money.
You literally have no idea.
No, it is. It's I don't know who he is. Nobody knows who this guy is.
This is you being jealous because you wanted to have the talk about Emily and Brad Pitt being together.
No, here's the thing. I actually thought there was some truth to that Brad Pitt story because they were both in Europe at the same time. But when you look up the guy, the DJ. His family owns real estate. They're a big real estate company, so there's a lot of money.
Like, this couple makes more sense. The Brad and her didn't make a lot of sense because Brad doesn't normally go like.
Sure.
I think recently, and this is recently, I know he's had very high profile relationships, Gwyneth Paltrow and Juliette Lewis and Jennifer Aniston, but I feel that after Angelina, he's like. He doesn't go for the high profile people because he doesn't want the attention anymore with dating high profile women.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Emily is a higher profile woman, and I feel that would just cause him a kind of a pain in the neck now.
It's a good look for Emily because
it boosts her star power.
She's been working it though. She's been working the system for a while. She knows the game. She doesn't hide from events. She doesn't hide from paparazzi. She's, she puts herself out there.
I'm curious how the paparazzi knew exactly where she was going to be hanging out and where to get the kissing photos. But we're going to move on from that.
I'm not. So the shots were exclusive. I do wonder. There's definitely some wondering for it because most photographers don't work at night. But
and
there was
don't follow Emily Ratajkowski around.
But there was some clues, or there was some stuff rumbling that she was spotted around town with a gentleman. So as a paparazzi, especially a photographer, it is worthwhile to wait outside her house at night because that's when she would hang out with him.
You're like, oh, we're going to get Brad and her making out. Oh, damn, it's just DJ Orazio. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at first they didn't even know who the guy was, spotted with Mystery Man, and then someone outed him, oh, he's some DJ. So then they're able to say there was some
He outed
DJ.
Himself. He sent in an anonymous tip to page
By the way, hey, that's me. Exactly. All right, number...
It looks like DJ me. Okay, moving on.
Number 4.
Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez. I don't know if you guys saw this. Photos of them posing down at the Academy Museum Gala over the weekend. Obviously, we had to put this into our rundown, even though it was a couple days ago. The two of them hanging out was one of the biggest stories of the week, especially on the heels of Hailey Bieber going on Call Her Daddy. Is it Call Her Daddy? Call Me Daddy?
Call me
Call Her
yeah,
Daddy.
Call Her Daddy. Yeah.
Why did it sound weird when I said it? Going on Call Her Daddy and talking all about Selena Gomez and talking about how she was absolutely not in a relationship with Justin Bieber at the same time as Selena, and saying that she has respect for Selena and all of this stuff. Next thing you know, the two of them are posing, hugging. I think this was very much they knew this would break the internet the second they posed down together.
Yeah. Of course they knew what they're doing with this photo, especially Selena's back to promote her stuff going on. She's going on, I think she has like new music, or she's promoting something right now. So just so happened this photo comes out on the heels of her going out and doing some press. I'm sort of
and the thing is, they were friends before Justin Bieber entered the picture. So like, these two women were friends, they knew each other, they hung out. Justin entered, and obviously Justin had dated Selena, then he married Hailey. But I think that it was like their photos are like very much hanging on each other and very close and comfy and looking like they're great friends again.
Yeah, I'm sort of bored by this story. I know like the Bieber fans, and everyone had some speculation of what happened. Did she ruin the family, and did Hailey break up Selena and Justin? The whole thing was just sort of just annoying for me. So this photo is very calculated.
You're good moving on?
Yeah, I'm good. This photo is just very calculated. They know they were going to shake people up and get people talking. I'm not surprised. I'm just like bored and annoyed that the story got so much press.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Well, then we'll move on because
thank you, Dax. All right, number 3. Talking about comeback stories.
Yeah, boy. Matthew Perry opening up about his addiction journey. He's got a new memoir out called I Am Grateful to Be Alive. Well, actually, that's not what it's called. That was just a quote in there. I think what it's called is, hold on, let me find it. It's something like Friends. I can't find it right now. Anyway, it talks all about his journey, how he almost died. His colon erupted at one point because of an opioid overdose. He was basically on a breathing machine that was pumping his lungs and his heart and everything for like weeks. Was in the hospital for 2 weeks in a coma, 2 weeks in a coma, 5 months in the hospital, had to use a colostomy bag for 9 months. Like, really, really bad shit happened. And did any of us know about this?
We didn't know, I don't think, to the extent of how bad it was. I mean, there's always been photos of him. You heard the rumblings for a long time about
everyone knew he had substance abuse issues. I mean, he was literally like in and out of rehab a lot, but I don't think anyone knew that he was this close to dying. I guess he was on this machine called an ECMO machine. I don't know what that is. This is the one that pumps your heart or something. And he said that it's called a Hail Mary and no one survives it. And he was put on that and had a 2% chance of living and survived.
Wild. Yeah. It's, listen, I think it's cool that he's in a good place. Again, he's a legend. And,
one other part. Sorry. They're doing little excerpts from the book. He said at one point during the Friends reign, he was taking, get this, 55 Vicodin a day.
That's a lot.
How does your body even withstand 55 Vicodin? How are you even awake with 55 Vicodin in your body? He was down to 128 pounds at that time. He said he didn't know how to stop. He said if the police came over and said, if you drink tonight, we're taking you to jail. And he said, oh, well, I would have just packed up my stuff because there was no way to get out of it. But I don't even know how your body would process that much Vicodin. Like, I get sick on one Vicodin, let alone 55. Good God.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like something about the Matthew Perry story, I feel like we all gave up on it for a while because everyone knew he had an issue, but we kind of were like, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's a sex thing where, people jumped on the female breakdowns, but not as much as the male breakdowns. Or maybe it's just timing that, no one really kind of paid that much attention to the Matthew Perry kind of meltdown or what was going on. But, now he's actually coming forward, so we know exactly what was going on there, and it's just wild.
And by the way, I did find the name of the memoir. It's called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. So that is the name of the book if you want to check it out. I feel like this actually might be one of the books that I check out. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, very cool. I'm actually going to read. There's Rick Rubin was on Joe Rogan, and I'm interested in Rick Rubin, so I'll check that book out. And you read Matthew Perry, and then we'll bullshit about both books, and it'll be nice. Okay,
we'll
deal?
have like an Oprah's book club.
Oh, that'd be so sweet.
Be us two.
That'd be so nice. All right, number 2. This story is wild. This story is insane.
Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis are now responding to the accusations from their former nanny, and they put out a joint statement with as much crap as these two are going through and how it seems like they actually hate each other. For them to come together and put out a joint statement does say a lot.
Listen, did they come together or did their two publicists? Okay, what are you going to say? I don't think they spoke. I think their two publicists, their team spoke. Their lawyers 100%. May have spoke. Yeah, so they didn't speak.
If you're interested in the very juicy stories that this nanny is allegedly putting out there and they are calling false, they are all over the Daily Mail. The nanny had basically got in and divulged all kinds of alleged private details about the time leading up to their split, saying that they were a happy couple on the beach in September, and then the next month she was packing up her bags and moving in with Harry Styles, and that Jason was basically blindsided by the whole situation, and that she had told Harry, no, I'm done with my husband, when the nanny is claiming that just wasn't the case, and that the nanny made it seem like she definitely stepped out of the marriage to go be with Harry Styles because he was the younger, hotter, more successful person.
So you're saying, based on what the nanny said, the person who looks like the bigger asshole is Olivia out of this, correct?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but there's something else that the nanny said about Jason being like crying and like in front of the car. There was some
the
more.
The nanny said that at one point, Olivia allegedly, I guess, went to go leave the family home to be with Harry Styles, and Jason laid down behind the wheels of her car so that she wouldn't be able to leave.
These are wild. It's a wild thing, right?
Can I throw out a weird conspiracy idea?
Yeah.
So this nanny saying all this stuff, right, makes Olivia look really bad. Is there any chance that Jason said, I want the nanny to go talk? Because it sounds like the nanny and him like traveled together and did stuff. I wonder if he's like, I want you to go tell your story, because it makes her like, even if there's some story details about him that are bad, it still makes her look 10 times worse.
So here's the thing. So this nanny, how does the nanny get in touch with Daily Mail, and why did the nanny decide to speak? Do you think Daily Mail, she contacted someone, or she knew someone said Daily Mail paid her for the story?
I don't know. But
because why would she even talk? Because now all of a sudden she's probably going to get sued.
These are two celebrities. How did they not have like a non-disclosure agreement? Exactly.
There had to been an NDA, but she's now probably getting herself into some legal issues by speaking. It's defamation.
Well, they would have. That's the thing. Unless it's true, and Jason is like, this sounds horrible. Again, conspiracy theory. This is not accurate. This is me just theorizing hypothetically what could be the real case. But because these two are so nasty, and you've seen some of the tactics that they've gone through, I don't feel like it's a far-fetched idea to think maybe he is encouraging the nanny to continue to talk, and that's why we haven't seen any lawsuits.
So Dax thinks that Jason Sudeikis may allegedly had something to do with this. And again, we're just trying to be wear the tinfoil hat a little bit, or just make you question, because this is how the business works.
It's just weird because you don't normally get like nannies talking about this kind of stuff so quickly after. And I do feel that it makes Olivia look really, really bad, because the nanny is essentially saying, yeah, she went out of the marriage, she stepped out. Not only that, she was swimming in the pool naked while she was supposedly with Harry. So now she looks bad to Harry as well. Like, she just looks bad to everyone. That's the only reason I'm like, I wonder if her talking to the Daily Mail is blessed by someone in the camp.
Yeah, I just question why the nanny spoke. How did you get in touch with the Daily Mail? What made you decide to speak? How did you not sign an NDA? Knowing that this was going to get into possibly legal issues for yourself, how are you going to get yourself out of it? You know, like, you're about to get sued possibly, and it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to suck. So I don't know. There's a lot of. I'm curious how the story ends up. I got so many questions. Yeah, but I did think it was funny how Olivia Wilde, part of the story was about this crazy salad dressing recipe, and Olivia Wilde responded on social media by showing off the recipe. So I thought that was cool of Olivia kind of just having fun. I wouldn't say having fun with the story, but saying, hey, because everyone started talking about this recipe. It's like, all right, I have to throw a joke on this. All right, the number one story of the week, Dax.
Number one story of the week is that. Wait a second. Did I click on the wrong one? No, here we go. Sorry. I saw Conan O'Brien's name came up, and I was like, no, I didn't. Conan O'Brien wasn't the lead one. It's James Corden being, shunned out of this restaurant, Balthazar. If you have been living under a rock, you didn't hear about this story, but this was probably the biggest story. He apparently was just an a-hole to one of the waiters at Balthazar, and this happened not once but twice over the last couple months, to which the owner the owner's name is Keith McNally, went on social media, ripped him apart, and said he is now banned from Balthazar. Well, because of all of that, James apparently apologized profusely. He called up the owner and said, hey, I am so sorry for being a tough customer. And so Keith then went on social media and said, James Corden just called me and apologized profusely. Having effed up myself more than most people, I strongly believe in second chances. So he is now no longer banned from Balthazar.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how big of a story this became. Everyone was talking about it, maybe because it's James Corden, and I think, we talk about in our private Facebook group off the record that, James Corden, people think he's the nicest guy, but in person, he's not the guy that you see on TV. I've only met him once. I talk about my experience my experience was, I'll tell you, I've met him once on the street. I didn't even try to shoot him with my camera. I was just like, hey, huge fan of you. Like, I just enjoy what you do. And I just, can I get a photo with you? He was like, yeah, sure. And he took a photo with me. He wasn't warm about it, but he wasn't a dick about it. He was like, yeah, he just was like very business. Like, he wasn't smiling. Like, whereas when you meet Jimmy Fallon's like the guy you want him to be. When you meet Shaquille O'Neal is the guy you want him to be. When you meet James Corden, I don't know if he's the guy you want him to be. Does that make sense?
Yep. That's why I don't want to meet him, because I actually like him.
Yeah, I think it's but it was crazy. Everyone jumped on this story, and then obviously James Corden had to respond to this story, and I think the owner was surprised how big of the story this became.
He actually started to feel bad. Keith started to feel bad that he's like, wow, I say one thing, it turns into this massive viral story, and Corden gets shit all over. I mean, in one part, I think you realize the power of social media. You don't even have to be a big star to get the word out there about someone. But yeah, I think I do appreciate that James had the balls to call him up and apologize. I think there is something to be said there with that, because I also can't expect celebs to always be on their best behavior. Every second of the day, every moment, people fuck up. A bad moment happens, they overreact, but not everyone says sorry. So for him to own up to it and apologize, I think is a good thing.
So actually, it's funny. So this happened at this restaurant called Balthazar in New York City. It's in Soho. It's a very famous spot. It's been there for years, very popular. Tons of celebrities go there. I was there last Saturday night. Okay. I was there last Saturday night. And who do I see at the table when I first walk in is a director, an Academy Award winning, was he director or writer? Academy Award winner, filmmaker, I should say. I'll just say filmmaker, Paul Haggis. Do you know who he is? He did the movie Crashing. Was that the one that he won the award on? Crash. So he won a few years ago. He won the Oscar for doing Crash, and it was a huge movie, very successful.
Years ago, like what, 15 years ago?
Was it 15? Was it that long ago now?
Yeah, bro, that was back in like 2005 or something.
You probably are right. Anyway, so I walk in. He's the first person sitting when I'm like, oh shit, there's Paul Haggis. I didn't say anything to him. I saw him. He doesn't know who I am. And then all of a sudden, later on, I'm standing outside the restaurant, and Paul Haggis comes out, and he sees me, and I just like, he's like smoking a cigarette right next to me, and I just, if I know who they are, I always say a little something to him. I was like, hey man, big fan. And are you familiar with Paul Haggis? He's right now on trial for like rape, pretty much. And it's a pretty big story. He basically, like nearly a decade ago, he's like being accused of raping a publicist. And it's a pretty big lawsuit going on. And he comes out, he's like, oh, thank you so much. How you doing? Beautiful night in New York City. And we just start talking. And we're sitting there talking outside of the restaurant. And we're talking. And then eventually he goes, so what do you do? And that's when my stomach hurts, because I'm like, oh, man, do I tell this guy who's in the middle of a huge lawsuit where he's being accused of raping a woman that I'm a journalist?
No, and, you say I'm a valet, and you walk off.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I'm a journalist. I always seen you before, and we start talking about it. But I could just tell, like, the energy of the conversation, because he was super nice, changed once I told him I was a journalist. And then he was like rushing himself. He's like, all right, I'm going to go back. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Like, I was just like, I felt bad. I was like, yeah, sorry, dude. I was like, I actually do like I did like that movie, and but
hey,
it got weird.
You can like the movie, but it doesn't mean you have to like the person. And clearly, if any of that's true, then
he was very nice to me.
Associate with him.
Yeah, he was very nice to me, but the conversation changed once I told him I was a journalist, obviously. But Balthazar, good restaurant, solid spot. If you want to see a celebrity, go there any night. I'm sure there's good chances that you'll run into some noteworthy person that you might see. But that's our top 10 stories of the week. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Hollywood Raw Pod. Leave a review. Go to Hollywood Raw on iTunes, I guess, and our podcast app, and go all the way to bottom. Search the bottom, and you'll see the easy way to leave a review.
Just leave a review. Leave one for us. We always say it's the easiest way for us to start moving up the charts, and other people do discover us. Come hang out with us on the private Facebook group, Off the Record. That is where we're having so much fun chatting with you guys, seeing your responses to the episodes. I love seeing that we had some sleuth this week. During our conversation with Clint, he had said that he took photos of a couple on the misty beach, and that someone from his camp reached out to get those photos so they could put them out on print them out and everything. Well, I think one of our Facebook friends found the photos. So if you want to see the photos, they are posted inside the Facebook group Off the Record. Anyway, that is it. You can follow Adam at Adam Glyn. You can follow me at Dax Holt. And we'll see you guys next week. Later.
See ya. What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on. Let's go.